In 1973, Constance Webb, a determined and fearless scientist, led a research team deep into the Peruvian Amazon. Despite being pregnant, she ventured into the jungle to find a rare spider believed to hold extraordinary powers. Constance was convinced that the spider's venom could not only heal deadly diseases but also enhance human strength. She confided in her colleague Ezekiel Sims, explaining rumors of jungle tribes with superhuman speed and agility, said to be gifts from the spiders. Sims, however, dismissed her stories as myths and returned to their camp, leaving her alone. Back at the camp, Sims discovered Constance's research notes. To his shock, they provided undeniable proof that the spider's venom could offer unimaginable abilities. Realizing the potential, Sims secretly photographed her notes. Just as he prepared to follow her, Constance returned, beaming with excitement. She had found the spider. Its venom, she believed, could change the future of medicine. While she celebrated, however, Sims acted. He suddenly pulled out a gun and shot 2 of his team members, shocking Constance. Demanding the spider, Sims lunged for the jar. A struggle ensued, and in the chaos, the gun fired again, hitting Constance. Bleeding and weakened, she watched as Sims took the spider and disappeared into the jungle, leaving her to die. But the tribe she had been searching for found her. They took her to a hidden cave, hoping the spider's bite could heal her. However, Constance was too far gone. As her condition worsened, she gave birth to a baby girl she named Cassie. In her final moments, the tribe's leader promised to protect Cassie and told her that if she ever returned, answers awaited. 30 years later, Cassie Webb, now a paramedic in New York City, carries the weight of her mother's mysterious past. She works alongside Ben Parker, a close friend and confidant. One day, Ben invites her to his brother's baby shower. Cassie, though reluctant, agrees to go. After her shift, she returns home and follows her usual routine, pulling out her late mother's old suitcase and poring over Constance's research. As she revisits her mother's cryptic notes, an urgent call comes in. There's been a car accident near a bridge, and the vehicle is dangling off the edge with a man trapped inside. Cassie and Ben race to the scene. They manage to rescue the man, but as they do, the car slips, trapping Cassie inside. She plunges into the water, and as she sinks, something extraordinary happens. Glowing webs appear around her, showing her brief flashes of the future. Disoriented, Cassie wakes on the shore, Ben pulling her from the water. Though only submerged for minutes, her oxygen levels are abnormally high. Cassie has a fleeting sense of déjà vu, feeling like she has already seen Ben checking her oxygen levels, though he insists it's the first time. Confused, she brushes it off. Meanwhile, Ezekiel Sims, now a wealthy and powerful man, lives in luxury but is haunted by his past. After letting the spider bite him years ago, he gained the ability to see into the future, but the power comes with nightmares. He dreams of 3 young girls dressed in spider costumes, coming to kill him. Sims believes these girls are a real threat, their power growing with each passing day. Desperate to stop them, he tricks a security specialist into giving him access to a facial recognition software that can locate anyone based on their image. Once he has the information, he kills her with a deadly venom injected directly from his body. Back in New York, Cassie attends Ben's family baby shower. As the group plays a game to guess the baby's gender, Cassie experiences a strange sense of déjà vu again. She knows the outcome before it happens. Disturbed by the frequency of these visions, she pushes the thoughts aside when Ben calls her for another emergency. There has been another accident. While trying to save a person, Cassie has a sudden vision of O'Neill dying in a crash with a semi-truck. She tries to warn him, but O'Neill insists on leaving in the ambulance. Minutes later, her vision becomes reality as O'Neill dies in a horrific accident. While grieving the loss, Cassie has another unsettling experience at home. She sees a pigeon crash into her window and die, but moments later, the vision resets, and this time, she opens the window in time for the bird to land safely. It dawns on her. She can not only see the future but change it. Determined to understand these abilities, Cassie turns to Ben, but as she heads to the metro station, something sinister unfolds. Sims, using his new software, tracks down the location of the 3 girls from his dreams. Believing they pose a future threat, he's determined to eliminate them before they can grow stronger. He sends a hacker to breach New York's security system, gaining access to every camera in the city. As Cassie waits at the metro, unaware of the danger closing in, Sims prepares to make his move. Cassie sat quietly on the train, surrounded by 3 girls, Julia, Anya, and Maddie, who were completely unaware of the danger they were in. She glanced at them, and that's when it hit her. A terrifying vision of their deaths. Cassie's heart raced as she looked up and saw Sims in real life, moving from one train compartment to another, heading straight for them. Without hesitation, she grabbed the girls and rushed them off the train just as Sims entered their car. The girls, confused and frightened, protested. "Why are we getting off?" Julia asked, but Cassie ignored them, focusing on the danger still lurking in the train. Sims stood inside, staring at them as the train doors closed. Cassie's pulse quickened. "We need to leave. Now," she urged, but the girls didn't listen. They began arguing, making a commotion that drew unwanted attention. Then, something else caught Cassie's eye, a man dressed like Spider-Man, moving quickly toward them. "That's him," she shouted, pointing at the figure. The girls froze as Cassie hurriedly dragged them towards another train. They boarded and sped away. Sims was following them, relentless in his pursuit. She led the girls off the train at the next stop, taking them to the ground floor in an effort to escape. As they reached the ground floor, Cassie knew Sims wasn't far behind. She tried to push the girls toward the exit, but just as they were about to escape, police officers stopped them. The situation escalated quickly. Sims attacked the police, using his enhanced abilities, and the officers struggled to hold him back. Cassie saw her chance. Amid the chaos, she led the girls out of the metro station and hailed a taxi to get as far away as possible. They sped through the city, but as the adrenaline began to wear off, the girls finally spoke up. "What's going on? Who are you?" Maddie asked, still shaken. Cassie took a deep breath. "I'm trying to save you. That man, Sims, he's dangerous. He's coming for you, and I don't know how long we can outrun him." Just as they began to relax, the radio blared with a shocking news report. Authorities are searching for Cassie, a woman accused of kidnapping 3 girls. Cassie's heart sank. The police had turned on her, and now she had both Sims and the law chasing them. "We can't stay in the city," Cassie whispered. She made a sudden decision and took the taxi deep into the jungle. There were no cameras, no prying eyes in the jungle. Sims hackers couldn't track them, and the police wouldn't find them there. Once they arrived, the girls grew uneasy. "Why are we in the jungle?" Anya asked, clearly frustrated. Cassie explained everything. Her ability to see the future, the vision she'd had of their deaths, and how Sims was the one who would kill them. Maddie laughed it off, but Julia's face turned pale. "I saw a man, walking on the roof like a spider," Julia whispered, sending a chill down Cassie's spine. That revelation stirred a memory. Her mother's research had mentioned spider-like people with the ability to walk on walls. Cassie needed answers, and fast. "Stay here for a few hours. Don't leave," Cassie instructed, then rushed back to her home to search her mother's notes. In the dusty old notebook, Cassie found references to a tribe of spider people who could see the future, people like her. And then, she found something even more disturbing, a photograph of Sims with her mother. Meanwhile, back in the jungle, the girls' fear had driven them out. Hungry and frustrated, they left the safety of the trees and returned to the city, heading straight to a nearby cafeteria for food. But as soon as they arrived, one of the person at the cafe reported them to the police. Sim's hacker listens to the call, and Sim dismisses the police by calling and saying it was a false alarm, going for them himself. Cassie, upon returning to the jungle, found the girls missing and tracked their footprints to the cafeteria. When she arrived, the girls apologized, but there wasn't time for explanations. Sims was already there, lurking in the shadows. Cassie tried to act fast, but it was too late. Sims attacked the girls, killing each one before turning on Cassie. Just as he was about to strike her, everything froze. Cassie gasped. She was still in the jungle. It had been another vision. She now knew where the girls were and had to act fast. She jumped into action, driving her car straight to the cafeteria. This time, she was prepared. She smashed the car through the front doors, hitting Sims just before he could touch the girls. "Get in!" she screamed, and they scrambled into the car. But as they sped away, Sims caught Cassie's hand through the window, injecting her with a deadly poison. Despite the searing pain, Cassie managed to keep the car steady and got them to safety. She knew it was only a temporary escape. Later that night, as they hid in a hotel, Cassie learned more about the girls' backgrounds. Anya's status as an illegal immigrant complicated everything. Turning her over to the authorities could mean deportation. Cassie had no choice but to keep them close. Once the girls were asleep, Cassie went back to the cafeteria, drawn by some instinct. Sims was there, waiting. This time, he didn't attack immediately. Instead, he spoke, revealing his twisted belief that the girls would soon develop superpowers and kill him. Before he could finish, Cassie woke up, another dream. But this time, she knew the truth. Sims wasn't just after the girls out of fear. He was afraid they'd inherit powers that could destroy him. The next day, Cassie warned the girls, teaching them how to perform CPR in case Sims managed to poison any of them. She also revealed her mother's research, explaining that Sims' powers were documented in the diary. But there was one place that could hold the answers to everything: Peru's ancient forests. After saying goodbye to the girls, Cassie ventured deep into the jungle to find the tribe. When she finally arrived, Santiago, the tribal chief, was waiting for her. "Finally, you've come," Santiago said, leading her to a cave where a sacred pond shimmered. "This is where your mother died and also where you were born." Cassie stood before the pond, ready to uncover the truth about herself and the danger that lay ahead. Santiago, standing beside her, gave her a cryptic smile and said, "To understand, You need to see beyond the present. Your story didn't start with you. It began before you were even born. With a push of his hand, Santiago throws Cassie's soul out of her body. Before she could react, her soul plunged into the water. The pond transformed into a shimmering web of life, a glowing, magical network that pulled her through time. Cassie found herself transported to the past, watching her mother's journey unfold like a vivid, haunting movie. Cassie saw her mother, Constance, bravely trekking into the forbidden forest in search of a spider that had the power to change everything. Cassie felt the weight of her mother's desperation as she watched her face off with Sim, sacrificing herself to save her unborn child. But it didn't stop there. The web took her to a crucial moment, Constance's conversation with a doctor, who revealed devastating news. Cassie, still in the womb, had an incurable illness that would likely take her life before she was born. The revelation hit Cassie like a freight train, and tears filled her eyes as she realized her mother had risked everything for her. Just as Cassie processed this heartbreaking truth, her soul snapped back to her body. She gasped for air, overwhelmed by the magical experience. Santiago observed her carefully, then said, "That wasn't my doing. It was your own power awakening. You're stronger than you realize, Cassie. The ability to see the future? That's just the beginning." Cassie's mind raced. She had always believed her ability to foresee future events was her only power, but Santiago hinted at something far more significant. He told her that with the web of life, she could be in multiple places at once. She could manipulate time and space, change the future, and even save lives in ways she never thought possible. Meanwhile, back in the city, chaos was brewing. Sims, who had been hunting Cassie and the girls, was furious. His frustration reached a boiling point when he couldn't track them down. He didn't realize that Cassie had cleverly hidden the girls, Julia, Anya, and Maddie, at Ben's house for their safety. But Sims had resources, and his hacker managed to track them down when Maddie was caught on a security camera. Now, Sims was closing in. Cassie arrived at Ben's house, only to find it empty. Using her ability to peer into the past, she saw that Julia, Anya, and Maddie had rushed to the hospital with Ben's pregnant sister-in-law, Mary, who was struggling with a difficult labor. But what they didn't know was that Sims was already hunting them down. In a panic, Cassie grabbed an ambulance and sped toward the hospital. Meanwhile, Sims' hacker manipulated the city's traffic lights, turning them green and clearing Sims' path to the girls. As Sims closed in on their car, Cassie arrived just in time, slamming her ambulance into Sims and preventing him from using a bomb he was about to throw at them. The explosion that followed was massive but harmless to the girls, who quickly jumped into the ambulance with Cassie to escape. The chase continued, with Sims refusing to back down. He leaped onto the roof of the ambulance, determined to stop them. Cassie shouted to Anya, telling her to grab an electric shock device from the vehicle and use it on Sims. In one swift motion, Anya shocked Sims, sending him tumbling off the ambulance. But the victory was short-lived. The ambulance screeched to a halt under an overpass. Cassie's mind raced. She tapped into her power, searching for a solution. Seeing the future, she devised a plan and used the ambulance radio to call for a helicopter. Meanwhile, she and the girls took cover inside a nearby firecracker factory, setting up a trap for Sims. As Sims entered the factory, he was met with a barrage of firecrackers, distracting him as the girls made their way to the roof. But Sims wasn't done yet. He followed them, and Cassie realized there was no more running. She had to fight him. The battle was intense. They clashed atop a towering billboard structure, where Sims, with his supernatural strength, gained the upper hand. He grabbed Cassie by the throat, attempting to inject her with his deadly power. She struggled, losing strength, but then she remembered Santiago's words. In that moment of desperation, Cassie unlocked her full potential. She split into multiple versions of herself, each one rescuing the girls from the danger Sims had put them in. Sims, seeing Cassie's newfound abilities, panicked and became reckless. He chased her to the spot where she had foreseen his demise. With one final strike, a massive metal structure collapsed, crushing Sims beneath it. However, the collapse also caused Cassie to lose her footing. She plummeted into the dark waters below, a glowing metal shard hitting her eyes as she fell. The impact blinded her, and her body went limp, sinking beneath the surface. Julia, horrified by the sight, dove into the water to save Cassie. They pulled her out, performing CPR, desperately trying to revive her. After a few tense moments, Cassie gasped for air and regained consciousness. But the damage was done. She was blind. At the hospital, as she lay recovering, Cassie told the nurse that Julia, Anya, and Maddie were her family. The girls, overjoyed by the declaration, vowed to stay by her side. And despite her physical limitations, Cassie felt more powerful than ever. Her vision of the future was crystal clear, and her powers had fully awakened. Cassie could now see a future where she and the girls, all with extraordinary abilities, fought against their enemies and triumphed. They were more than just survivors. They were unstoppable. What an intense journey through the web of fate. Will Cassie embrace her destiny and rise as a true hero? Or will her enemies crush her before she unlocks her full powers? For more epic recaps like this, don't forget to subscribe to Movies Unboxed.